You can imagine a world where the software on your screen isn't just mimicking conversation, but it's actually thinking. I mean, really contemplating a problem.
Right.
Elon Musk recently dropped a statistic that, frankly, it just stops you in your tracks. He believes there is a 10% probability, 1 in 10, that his new model, Grok 5, will be as smart as a human being.
And just to give you a sense of the gravity there, that single claim was reportedly enough to trigger an emergency strategy meeting at OpenAI.
Wow.
They didn't just shrug it off as, marketing hype. They hit the accelerator.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are unpacking XAI, Grok 5, and this whole race to artificial general intelligence.
Yeah.
It feels like there's a new model, a new claim, a new benchmark. But looking at the source material we have today, this one, it feels different.
It does.
It feels less like a software update and more like a philosophical shift in how we approach intelligence.
It absolutely is. And today, we're going to map out exactly why. We have a lot of ground to cover.
Okay, so what's the plan?
First, we're going to talk about Colossus, this massive hardware scaling happening right now in Memphis, Tennessee.
Right.
We'll break down the 3 specific ways Grok 5 is fundamentally different from ChatGPT and Gemini. We'll look at the architecture, the 6 trillion parameter structure aiming for AGI, and then we'll get practical coding, markets, image generation.
And of course, the part that always feels a bit like science fiction, the integration with Tesla and the Optimus robots.
Putting the brain inside the body, that's the end game.
So let's start with the timeline, because in the world of Musk companies, timelines can be, well, let's call them aspirational.
For sure. But we have a confirmed window now.
We do.
Musk confirmed in November 2025 that the target release for Grok 5 is the first quarter of 2026. So we're looking at January, February, March.
Okay.
And what's interesting is that despite the history of delays with, rockets or cars, XAI seems incredibly confident about this one.
So why the confidence? Usually when you get this close to a release of this magnitude, you start hearing about delays, but the sources suggest the hardware is already humming.
Because it's not just code anymore, it's physics.
Yeah.
This is where we have to talk about Colossus.
Right, the supercomputer.
It's the name of the supercomputer, XAI, built in Memphis. And when I say supercomputer, I don't mean a server room with blinking lights. I mean a facility that consumes as much electricity as a small city.
A small city, just to train an AI.
It's staggering. To get Grok 5 to that level of intelligence, they are moving from using 100,000 GPUs, which is already a mind-bending amount of compute.
Already, yeah.
To trying to connect 1 million GPUs.
Okay, so let's unpack that scale. I think for most people, 1 million GPUs is just a number. What does that actually represent in terms of engineering?
Think of a GPU like a tiny brain or, a neuron. Your home computer usually has one. Colossus is trying to link 1 million of them together to a single cohesive system. It is arguably one of the biggest engineering projects in history. It's like trying to wire up a synthetic neocortex.
And from what I understand, the challenge isn't just plugging them in, it's the latency, right? The speed of communication between them.
That is the bottleneck.
Yeah.
It's a networking nightmare.
Yeah.
If you have a brain where the neurons take 5 seconds to talk to each other, you don't have intelligence. You have a disconnected mess.
Right.
You have to get these chips to talk to each other instantly, almost at the speed of light. That's why we have the delay until 2026. It's not about the software learning. It's about physically building the brain big enough to hold the thoughts.
It reminds me of that paper, The Bitter Lesson by Rich Sutton.
Oh,
the idea that we keep trying to be clever with programming, but eventually brute force scaling, just adding more compute, always wins.
That's the bet XAI is making. They are betting the farm on the idea that if you build a big enough computer, intelligence just emerges. It's not magic, it's scale.
So why do we actually need 1 million chips linked together?
To create an intelligence smarter than anything previously seen.
That leads us perfectly into the software itself. Because once you build this massive brain, what makes it different from what we already have? If I'm sitting there with ChatGPT open in one tab and Grok 5 in another, what's the tangible difference?
There are a few core differentiators, but the biggest one is time. Most AI models like ChatGPT or Gemini operate like a library book.
A library book? How so?
Well, think about it. If you pick up a book printed in 2023, it has zero idea what happened yesterday.
Right, it's frozen.
It's frozen in time. Those models rely on training data that has a cutoff date. Now, they are getting better at searching Google to patch that hole, but it's often slow, clunky, or a bit messy.
I have noticed that. You ask about a news event from this morning, and it sometimes hallucinates or just says, I don't have that information.
Precisely. Grok 5 is different because it lives inside the X platform. It has a direct pipeline to the global conversation.
So it's reading posts in real time.
Instantly. When news breaks, an earthquake, a stock market crash, a political scandal, people post it on X instantly. Grok reads that. It doesn't wait for a news article to be written and edited and published and then indexed by Google.
It sees the raw data as it happens. That is a massive advantage for anyone who needs to be current.
It's the difference between a historian and a news anchor. And it's drinking from the fire hose. It has to filter the noise, obviously, but the signal is there before it's anywhere else.
But there's another difference that people talk about a lot, and that's the personality, the uncensored aspect.
Seeking mode, yeah.
Yeah. And I have to admit, I sometimes feel this frustration. I feel like I wrestle with other AIs when I ask a slightly sensitive question. You know the response. As an AI lineage model, I cannot provide an opinion. It feels very corporate.
It feels very safe.
Yeah.
And that is by design. OpenAI and Google have a massive enterprise reputation to protect. They have shareholders, they have corporate clients, they optimize for safety. XAI is taking a different approach. Grok 5 is designed to be less strict. It treats the user like an adult.
So fun mode isn't just a gimmick.
No, it's a philosophy.
Yeah.
It allows the model to be sarcastic, to make jokes, but more importantly, to give answers that might be considered controversial or sensitive without immediately shutting down.
It's trying to provide the raw truth.
Or at least the available information rather than a sanitized version of it.
So is being uncensored actually a utility, though, or is it just a gimmick?
It's essential for users wanting raw truth over corporate safety.
I can see that. If you are a researcher or a journalist, you don't want a tool that filters reality. You want the data, even if it's ugly.
Exactly. You want to know what the sentiment actually is, not what the AI thinks the sentiment should be.
That makes sense. It's a tool for deep thinking, not just, drafting HR emails. And speaking of deep thinking, we have to talk about the Holy Grail, AGI, artificial general intelligence.
This is the heavy terminology.
Let's define it quickly. So, narrow AI is good at one thing, playing chess, recognizing faces. AGI is good at everything. It learns like a human.
Right. And Musk's 10% probability claim is about this specific threshold. Can Grok 5 look at a problem it has never seen before, no training data on it, and just figure out the solution using logic?
And how do they plan to get there? We talked about the chips, but what is the strategy?
The strategy is brute force scaling. Imagine you're trying to build a library that contains the answer to every question.
You just keep adding floors.
You just keep adding floors. In AI, we measure this in parameters.
And parameters are like the synapses in the brain, right? The connections.
Yeah, exactly. To give you a sense of scale, GPT-4 is estimated to have around 1.7 trillion parameters.
Okay, 1.7 trillion.
Grok 5 is expected to have around 6 trillion parameters.
Oh, that is a massive jump. That's not just a linear increase, that's exponential complexity.
It is. And the theory the BetXAI is making is that by making the brain significantly bigger and feeding it more information, intelligence will naturally emerge.
So they're not programming it to be smart.
No, they're building a structure complex enough for smartness to happen.
But does making the model bigger actually create understanding?
XAI believes intelligence naturally emerges from massive scale.
And they are focusing heavily on reasoning versus just autocomplete. What's the distinction there?
Most current AIs are essentially guessing the next word in a sentence. They're hyper-advanced autocomplete.
Right.
Grok 5 is being trained to stop, think, and check its logic. If you ask it a math problem, it doesn't just guess the answer. It works through the steps. If you ask for code, it checks the logic of that code before giving it to you.
It's the difference between memorizing a textbook and actually understanding the physics.
Precisely. It's simulating an internal monologue. It's what researchers call chain of thought. And if they pull it off at 6 trillion parameters, that internal monologue gets very sophisticated.
Okay, so we have this massive, sarcastic, truth-seeking brain being built in Memphis. But let's bring it down to Earth. For the person listening who isn't trying to solve the theory of relativity, how do I actually use this?
It comes down to a few very powerful use cases. The first is handling large documents. Grok 5 is going to have a massive context window, likely around 256,000 tokens.
Which translates to what in the real world? Like A book.
A very thick book.
Yeah.
Or a massive stack of legal contracts. You could upload a 300-page PDF and say, find every mention of financial risk in this contract and tell me if any of them contradict each other.
That's huge, because right now with some models, you have to chop the document up into pieces or you hit a limit.
Right. Grok 5 can hold the whole thing in memory at once. It sees the big picture. It understands the narrative arc of the data, not just isolated sentences.
And what about the market research side? You mentioned the X integration earlier.
This is a game changer for businesses. Imagine asking, what is the sentiment on X right now regarding the Apple launch? Instead of getting a summary of articles from yesterday, Grok 5 scans the live posts from the last hour.
Wow.
It can tell you people are complaining about the battery life or everyone loves the new camera. It's real-time market intelligence.
I can see that being addictive for investors. You're getting the signal before the market moves.
Absolutely. And then there's coding. If you're a developer, Grok 5 acts like a senior engineer. Because of that large memory, it can look at your entire project structure, not just one script.
So you could ask it to rewrite something for speed.
Exactly. You can say, rewrite this Python script for speed, and it understands the context of the whole application.
And finally, images. I saw a note about Grok Imagine.
Yes. The struggle with AI images has always been text. You ask for a picture of a shop with a sign, and the sign usually has, alien hieroglyphics on it.
Yeah, just jumbled letters.
Grok 5 understands the world better, so it can actually spell correctly inside the image. You can ask for a futuristic Tokyo cafe with a neon sign that says Grok Cafe, and it will actually spell Grok Cafe.
Which sounds simple, but is technically very difficult. It implies the model understands what letters are.
Conceptually, yes, not just visually.
So which user actually benefits the most from this tool?
Investors and researchers needing real-time data and logic.
Before we move to the final segment, I want to take a brief moment to thank our partners who make this deep dive possible. Okay, we're back. We've covered the brain. Now I want to talk about the body. Because Elon Musk isn't just building a chatbot to live in your browser. He's building a mind that can move.
This is where we connect to the bigger picture of the Musk ecosystem. The first physical container for Grok 5 is the car.
The Tesla.
Yes. Right now, voice commands in cars are, let's be honest, pretty basic. Call mom. Navigate home.
I didn't understand that.
Play music by Cher.
Exactly. It's frustrating. With Grok 5 integrated, the car becomes a smart companion.
So what does that look like?
You could be driving through a town you've never visited and ask, Grok, tell me a story about the history of this town. Or find me a restaurant with a 4.5-star rating that is open right now and actually has parking.
It turns the drive into a conversation. But it's more than just a concierge, isn't it? It's about the car understanding the world.
It is. But the even wilder application is Optimus, the humanoid robot. This is the part that really captures the imagination. We've seen the videos of the robots folding shirts or walking around, but they still look a bit robotic.
It's stiff because currently they are dumb in the cognitive sense. They follow programming. They're executing a script.
Got it.
But if you put Grok 5's brain into Optimus, the robot can understand abstract concepts. You could say, go to the kitchen and make a sandwich.
And the robot has to understand what a kitchen is, what a sandwich is, where the bread is kept.
It has to understand the concept of a knife. Not just the coordinates of a tool, but what a knife is for. It figures that out by thinking, using that massive training data.
It provides the common sense that robots have always lacked.
Exactly. And where does it get that common sense? It gets it from the cars, right?
From the fleet.
That's the closed loop. This is the secret weapon XAI has. They have millions of Teslas driving around with cameras, recording video of physics, of human behavior, of how the world moves. That data trains the model. The car teaches the robot how to see.
It's incredible potential, but I have to play the skeptic for a second. We talked about Colossus consuming the power of a small city.
Yes.
If we have millions of these robots and cars all accessing this super intelligence, the energy demand must be astronomical.
Is a massive challenge. This is the dark side of the moon here. The more intelligent the model, the more energy it consumes. Colossus in Memphis is already straining the grid.
So what's the solution?
Musk is betting on solar and batteries, Tesla energy, to solve this. But it's a race. Can we generate green energy faster than these AI brains consume it?
So is this just software or something physically tangible?
It is the future mind for cars and humanoid robots.
It really reframes how you look at a Tesla driving down the street. It's just waiting for its brain upgrade.
It is. It's hardware waiting for the soul.
So let's bring this all home. We've covered a huge amount of ground. We have these three giants in the arena now.
We do. And it's important to see where they sit. You have OpenAI with GPT-5 coming, which is the enterprise standard. It's safe, it's corporate, it's reliable.
It's a suit and tie.
Exactly. Then you have Google with Gemini. That's the ecosystem play. It's integrated into your docs, your Gmail, your Android phone. It's all about convenience.
And then XAI with Grok.
The truth seeker. It's about raw power, real-time access to the world via X, and deep reasoning without the safety wheels.
Regardless of which one wins, or if they all win in different ways, what does this mean for us?
It forces the whole industry to evolve. Even if Grok 5 doesn't hit that 10% chance of being human-level smart, just the attempt pushes OpenAI and Google to be better. It accelerates everything.
So here's my challenge to you, the listener. We are expecting this release in Q1 2026. When Grok 5 drops, don't just read the headlines. Test it.
Absolutely. Compare it. Ask ChatGPT a question, then ask Grok the same question. See which reasoning style fits your brain better. Are you looking for the safe summary or the raw data?
It's going to be a fascinating year. The car you drive and the robot you might one day own are just waiting for this mind to wake up, and when it does, we'll be here to talk about it.
I can't wait.
Thanks for diving in with us. We'll catch you in the next one.